How's it going, everyone? This is Edwin from Crosscreek Lights, and today we're going to go through our 2023 Christmas display, sort of behind the scenes look. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to go over this yard first, and then we'll go ahead and go over here. So let's go ahead and walk over. We added quite a bit this year to the display. So this will be a little bit longer of a video, but we hope you enjoy. First thing that we added this year, same for Halloween, is our mini arches. These are 50 pixel mini arches, 25 on each row. There's 2 rows, and what we did is we used the design we saw on a Facebook group that has EMT along the bottom, and so each of them are in about 8-foot sections, because they're 2 foot, and then 4 arches on each section. So we can take them out in sections, and then it's easy for storing stuff like that. We have still our original outline from our second year. These are using the Holiday Coro C9 pixel bulbs. One thing we did do on joints like that over there with a T, those are actual PVC T's, but some of our outline was drooping last year, and we didn't like that, so what we did is we bought these snap T's. What these are, they just have the top cut off, so we can snap them in and out here. I can't do it with one hand here, I'm holding the camera, but you get the idea. These kind of just snap in, and it's nice, and it just adds that support in the middle so it doesn't bow. So yeah, that's how we did that. Kind of walking down here, I believe there's 24 or 25 mini arches on this side of the yard. There's 38 in total here that we have. I think it's close to 700 or 1700 nodes here. Here we have our arrows. This is pointing to our new photo application, which is over there. That I'm going to do a completely separate video on, or this video is going to be like hours long. But this is our arrows here, and it has, I want to say, yeah, they're 203 nodes. These were custom from Gilbert Engineering. They were from their pole, so they have like a gingerbread pole with arrows, and we just asked for the arrows because those usually come separate for shipping purposes, and so they were able to get us those, and we just have 200 nodes in them. You can actually see the holes for the other few pixels, but we run a photo op across it with the arrow at night, and it just provides signage for us. We run that off of a differential board. I'll get to that in a second, but there is 2 of them here. Yes, we have 2 there, dismounted on some EMT with rebar into the ground here. Let's go ahead and open this box up here. So this is a 4-port differential board from Experience Lights, and we just have this running back to our photo op controller, which will be seen in another video, and this will probably also be in the other video, but it's kind of part of the main yard. And then we just have a power supply for that. One thing we do with all of our power supplies, what we have been doing now, is marking the year. Just if they go bad, we know kind of how long they've lasted us. Now that we're moving into our 5th or 6th year in the hobby. So then the outline continues here. Continuing here. Let's go ahead. We'll move up the yard. So we'll move kind of back and forth now. So these are our pixel trees. Last year we had either 5 or 6 of them. I don't exactly remember. But now we have 8, and then candy canes in between them. We wanted to add a little bit more something towards this side of the yard. This side of the yard was very bare. So now we have 8 of those. It fills in the yard nicely. And we like the mini candy canes. They're perfect for what we're doing here. We're all about trying not to block stuff, so it doesn't block the arches too much, doesn't block the singing trees too much, and we get a really good effect from them. So these are the mini trees. I guess I should tell you who they're from. If I didn't already, the mini arches are from Gilbert Engineering. They're the 2-foot arches, 50 pixels each. These are the Boscoyo mini trees. They're the 180 trees. They're the Coro. They're the small, not the medium. We do have some medium, but they're on the other side of the yard. And then these are the smallest chroma canes that Boscoyo sells. And we have 2, 4, 6, 8 of those as well. So, do we have? We have 9 trees, 8 candy canes. That's right. So, yes, we have 9 of these trees here, and all of this is being fed off of this controller back here. We'll get to that in just 1 second, but before we do that, I'm just kind of moving along the yard here. We have our P5 panel. This we rebuilt from our last year's display. It was up there. It was on a huge enclosure, but we didn't like that. What we did is we followed the Kyle Bostic design from Bostic Family Lights up in Michigan. Actually went up there for Christmas this year. We're in Ohio, so it was about a 3-hour drive. Saw his display, really cool display. Very nice guy to talk to. But anyways, we followed his design using this PVC board, plexiglass. These are indoor P5 panels with a color light card built inside. And this is, I believe, the 2-inch board. 1 8-foot board did this with minimal scrap. So measure twice, cut once. And so yeah, that's how we did that design. This is plexiglass. The one thing we didn't do, and Kyle did, in the kind of slot that you'll make to fit this plexiglass, he drilled holes in his to help with moisture and stuff. We did see some moisture in the inside during like Halloween. Not so much Christmas because it was cold and kind of freezy. But when it was raining and moisture was able to get inside there. It didn't affect the P5 panels in any way that we've noticed. Just during the day you could see it. Even with the moisture in them at night, with the panel on, you couldn't see the moisture once the panel turned on. Underneath here is an Ethernet gland and power gland, so this can just unplug like that, super easy. The display's over, so I'm not going to hook that back up. That's running down to a triple tap here. Back here we had this hooked up for our dog for Halloween. I never hooked it up in our display for Christmas, but this would allow our dog to flash to the lights. Kind of hacked it. Watch the Halloween video. It will show that more, but it's just a relay board and power supply and a DMX relay board, and this turns the DMX signal into a relay, so it's bridging this test wire connection and allowing the light to turn on and off. Pretty cool effect. For Christmas we didn't use it because we just ran out of time, but we still had it out here. This was the connection that was supposed to be for that. So anyways, moving along the back side of here, how we mounted these. All the mini trees are done with rebar, and then they have PVC, I think it's 3/4 inch EMT, or not EMT, sorry, PVC. These are done with EMT, and we zip tied them in like one location. Some of these I'm pretty sure, oh no, they're all zip tied. Some of these we just fit in because they were so tight. But yeah, those are how we did that. All the wires just kind of running along here till they get to the controller. This is our first controller we ever bought. It is the Holiday Coro Hinks Pix Pro. designed by Joe Hinkle. We haven't had an issue with this controller except for Halloween this year. The Holiday Coro server update servers were down, or firmware was messed up, and something happened where all the controllers that he designed were basically bricked, so this whole yard didn't work because we had everything running off this controller. He fixed it within like 1 or 2 hours, but ever since then we've been a little leery on running this as a sole controller. So next year we are going to replace some of our like differential boards and replace them to different controllers just in case that happens again, that this won't fail. But this is the Crosscreek Pro. We have 16 SPI or 16 outputs here. We have 3 differential boards running to it. This was for DMX data, but we're not running that. And that is that there. Let's go ahead and clip that in here. This is also running the arches, so you can kind of see some of the wires running to the arches here. Yeah, so that is a look behind there. Let's go ahead and move up. So this is our EFL Design Ornamatrix, it's called. This was a last minute edition. We went to the Christmas Expo up in Lexington, Kentucky, and spoke with the people at EFL. We had an order from some other stuff that we're adding next year. And I liked it, so we bought it. And it lives with our singing trees. It displays some stuff. We're definitely going to use it more next year now that we know we have it. This is where the input comes in for the outline. We do a power injection line over to the other side because I believe it is like 130, and with these C9 bulbs they do take more power than normal. We do run everything at 30% brightness, but and generally with pixels we can get 200 to 300 pixels without power injection, but these require a lot more power per bulb, so we do need to power inject. That is our only power injection spot, which is over there, and we'll get to that in a second. The rest of the display is running no power injection, all 12 volt pixels. This is our quartet. We've had these for 3 years now. They're the Boscoyo singing trees. One thing unique we do in our display that I don't think many others do, and that we really enjoy, is we narrate between each song. We kind of create a script that goes along with stuff, and I have some of my friends do some of the voices. I do one of them, and then we pay the female voice actor to do one as well, just because, yeah. So yeah, that's that. The 4 singing trees there. These are our massive spinny arches. So last year we had 3-row arches from Holiday Coro. They were 150 notes each. The year before that we were only running 1 row at 50 each. So these are 839 nodes each. Crazy amount of lights for arches. They do look really good in the nighttime though, and we do really enjoy them. They are the Coro version, so the 10mm Coro. This isn't slit. We got these from Gilbert Engineering when we went down to the Kentucky Christmas Expo. We came home with a U-Haul trailer. I'll show a photo, full of stuff, and that was quite a fun expo to be a part of. Don't know if we're going this next year or not, but if so, I'm sure we'll be picking up some more stuff. So yeah, that's the arches. We have 4 of them here. I think it comes out to like 3,300 nodes, something like that. but these are absolutely massive, and we love them as well. Before we get into the controllers that are behind there, one awesome addition that we have is this projector. This projects onto our garage here, and this is a Panasonic projector we got off of eBay. It is 5,500 lumens, or I'm sorry, 4,500 lumens. We made sure it had quite a bright lumen. And you can go on Amazon and like search high lumen projector and you'll get like a 10,000 lumen. Those are marketing scams, to be honest. What you're looking for is true ANSI lumens, which is ANSI. And this is a corporate projector, and on Panasonic's website it says it's 4,500 lumens. So we trusted that. We got it used on eBay for around 150 bucks. It is only a 720p projector, but for what we're doing and doing a virtual matrix on our garage, it looks just fine. We do run videos on it, but from the viewing distance from out there, it's completely fine for what we're doing. In the enclosure, this is a Your Pixel Store enclosure, and it has some fans. This is the projector glass. And you can kind of see there's a Raspberry Pi in there. It's a Raspberry Pi 4 gig model, and that is running that. We do have a smart, you can kind of see that like probe smart temperature unit in there, so we can monitor the temperature. During Halloween, we were experiencing overheating issues. During Christmas, we weren't. We do run these fans constant. We were going to run them only if it was needed, but we do run them constant. We have one air intake and two out, and it constantly is circulating that air. It's a waterproof enclosure, so any rain is completely fine. For Halloween, we did do a tub enclosure. If you watch that video, you'll see that in the explanation. We were supposed to get this for Halloween, but it was delayed. So yeah, that's running our projector here. You can see power there, all of our Ethernet wires. This is our only power injection spot, like I mentioned. Here, it's just running on the in the female side, and this is just a really long cable ran back to one of our controllers, to a spare port that's just providing power, no data. These are the back side of the arches. We have some floodlights here with EMT. Yeah, so floodlights here. For the mounting of the spinny arches, we just have rebar and then a long piece of EMT that kind of keeps it. This one's really rockety. Let's see, is this one any better? Okay. That zip tie's not even, that rebar's not doing anything. Cool. Well, they held up fine. They were zip tied for Halloween, but we did have to replace them. Replace all the bulbs in them because we bought some Holiday Coro off-spec bulbs. They were as is. Our other Holiday Coro bulbs that weren't as is have been lasting great. The as is bulbs, we knew they had issues. We replaced some of the bulbs that had issues, but then we experienced more issues where we were replacing multiple bulbs a night. It was a disaster. So between Halloween and Christmas, this got swapped out to all Wally's Lights pixels, and we've loved them. So yeah, floodlights here. Then here is another controller here. Let me open this up for you. This one's running 2 DMX lines out. Alrighty. So here's the Experience Lights board. You see power supply 723, blah, blah, blah. This is running 2 DMX lines. One for that dog that I was talking about that we weren't using. Then the other one is for our moving heads. We do have a controller in the garage, but we weren't able to get up the DMX set up properly for whatever reason. And we're still trying to communicate with that vendor to get that resolved. But for now, we're just running this Ethernet to the garage to run those. But we'll get to that in just a second there. Here's where all the main Ethernet lines are coming in for the differential controllers that are over here. So these are what is running our outline and our singing trees and the ornamatrix over there. These are 2 Holiday Coro receiver boxes. Go ahead and open these up here. So this one has a smart controller here. It's not being used as a smart controller, just a standard receiver. But that's one. And then over here is 2 standard receivers. Some of these are unplugged because we were having issues. But we got that resolved. So yeah, 2 differential boards right there. So 3 total, and that's the ones going back to the Holiday Coro board. Wires galore. We have so many extensions, it's not even funny. This Ethernet line is running to our photo op controller for the arrows. Again, this whole side of the yard will be talked about in a different video, and that will be posted along with this. This is our house. Yeah, it's our house. Look out. It is very cold out here, so I think my brain is freezing. So here's our outline. They're using these 3D printed clips. Talked about similar in our probably our last video, our last behind the scenes. But for those that are new, these are 3D printed brackets that are just holding this PVC in, and then this is PVC zip tied, or the Coro is zip tied to the PVC, which just clamps in, and then these can easily just pop out and go in, and it makes it for super easy setup. We do have Permatrack set up for our eaves, and I'll show a little bit more of that in a minute, but that's just Permatrack. We are running some special laws, but I'll talk about that in a second. Here's our window frames. So these are all EMT with maker pipe, and what we have on them are 2 off-road lights. Those are for our blinder effect that we use. I have a whole separate video on how to set that up if you're interested. We have a mother of all wreath in the middle, which we have skins for Halloween and 4th of July. Spoiler alert, we're doing 4th of July next year. Super excited about that. And then just pixels for our outline here. We're at 1-inch spacing on these. Everything this year we did was dense. So we're running 1-inch spacing on everything except our permanent lights, which are 2-inch. And that's how we run that. This whole mount is going to come off the wall, come out of the mounts, and then is going to be placed on our wall. So all of this will just be set up and ready to go. Over here we have just our cable whip, stuff like that. We have our speaker system set up here for people that are walking on foot. They can go ahead and listen to the music. Then you see some of our wires here. These are our column matrices here. They're 1,000 lights each, and that we just have on our columns. We have 2 of those here, and that all goes to our controller along there running on the front porch. Again, we have more Permatrack there. One thing we did do is we added a bunch of security cameras. These are our Unify cameras, part of our network. And these we can just keep an eye on stuff. We have quite a few around the house, but we do add some extra for Christmas. So these are that. One notable thing, we do have a lot of wires going along here, so we did add one of these like cable professional things, and there's quite a bit of cable going through here, power, Ethernet, everything like that, and it just makes it easy. This was a disaster, but we tried, and then some of these extra ones were last minute things that it was cold, we didn't want to deal with, so that's how this kind of got a mess. Over here is our front porch main controller. Before we get to that, another window outline, exactly the same as the other, just different dimensions. We have a bell, another outline here, and then another camera again for security. One thing we did add this year was a starburst. So that is 300 nodes ish from Gilbert Engineering. That bell is from Boscoyo. The mother of all wreaths are from Gilbert Engineering as well. And then Permatrack up there. And that all runs into this controller. So let's go ahead and open this up here. Before we do that, all of our outlets are ran smart, so we turn everything off at the end of the night, turn everything on a few minutes before the show starts, just so we're not keeping it on during the day. So let's go ahead and open this up here. This is a cable guard ammo case. And then in here we have quite a few things. So we have a Culp K16 controller. We have a Falcon expansion. So this is 32 ports in here. We have DMX out running into our blinder controller. Again, I did a separate video on our blinder setup, but I just put this in this box because I know this is going to stay on the front porch, and we just have separate outs for that. Underneath we have two 1200 watt power supplies. These are server power supplies, and then we do a breakout board, which allows us to use them for 12 volt. We have temperature, amp gauges, stuff like that, waterproof fan in and out, and that's all in there. We do have our SD card slot there, expansion. You can kind of see the breakout board in there a little bit. So yeah, that's how that's done. Over 32 outputs. If you want us to go into a detailed video on the controller, let us know, and we can do a detailed video. But that is that. We have another one on the other side of the yard, similar. Like I said, window outline, stuff like that in there. Up here we have our garage door outline here, again with two more off-road lights. These won't kind of stay in one frame, but we did do more 3D printed mounts. So these are 3D printed clips with EMT, and then these can just pop on and off. Up there we did drill into the top kind of board to run those, but yeah, we did have Permatrack mounted on the back side there. Probably last year we would have shown you that. This year we did have to move it under the gutter because of our moving heads. These are our moving heads. We have two of them. They're LED 90 watt. We have these globes that are for lamps. And then the mounting, I have a completely kind of separate video. I'll show you that now, and then we'll jump back. So these are mounted using a coat hanger with the top of a fence pole that we cut off of our mega tree. So this is like a coat rat hanger. We drilled those in there. We had duct tape because our clamps that we used for the lights were not sticking as good. These are where the wires are coming through in the garage. So we have Ethernet for data, and then we have power there. And then there's my gloves. So those are how those are mounted. And then in here we have a network rack with a Falcon 16 V5 with a power supply, single power supply, because we're only running 8 outputs right now. And that also has DMX. We haven't got that working yet, so that's why it's running off the other one in the yard. But that's that controller. We have our FM receiver for the speakers out in the yard. All of the network comes into here to our network switch. With all of our cameras, we're using about 14 ports. I think there's about 8 there's actually more than 8. So there's 9 controller connections, and then the rest is cameras. So the rest of this is just wiring to go out. Here's all the Ethernet going out, and then we have a pass through there. This is a mess, but it works for us. We have a dedicated outlet there. Another smart switch. We have another smart switch in there too. But all those cables go through the wall, and then they come out through a vent out, and then so that can be sealed during the summer. That's something we added this year, because we used to run all the cables underneath the garage, but with all these cables it was getting too much. So that's that there. Alrighty, so this is a look at the other side of the yard. Let's do the same. We'll start down at the end of the street, and then we'll go to the back. So this is our Make-A-Wish donation. We did a Make-A-Wish campaign this year. This is just a waterproof donation box where we can get into and have a sign here for that. That's just a laminated sign. We have some corrugated signs with QR codes that we added this year. This is our outline. Again, with the C9 bulbs, we have the mini arches here, like I talked about before. The only other thing is we have a Joy sign. This is from Gilbert Engineering. We painted it red, and it's just something kind of cool to wrap in the display. I would like to move it, but I don't know where. It's kind of awkward on where it's at, but I don't know where else to put it. But we'll figure that out next year. Running the arches, the Joy, are 2 Falcon receivers, and they're in this box here. And I can tell you we had issues with this receiver. This Ethernet jack, with laying it how it is, got water into it. Duh, I should have known. This cable is bad. So we stopped using the Ethernet jack, went directly into the Falcon board, and that's what we're using. A smart, so it's kind of daisy chaining just off of 1 power supply, and that's how that board's set up. This was for the last few nights that we ran this wire like that, or we would have figured out a different way, but for now it works, and that's the end of the season anyways. Again, this is controlling the arches, and the Joy. That's it. These are our pixel stakes. We have 55 of them. Well, 54 of them. These are all 3D printed with little tent stakes, and they're 5 node each. We didn't take these out between Halloween and Christmas, so you can see the grass is a little longer. And yeah, so these are 3D printed pixel stakes. Probably going to do a video on these because it was kind of cool on how we did them. And you can see here, some of them broke. So we're going to need to reprint them, but they're just done in by these yard stakes. Our ground was super hard when we pounded them in, so it was a pain to do that, but that's how they're in. And we have 2 ports running on these, 1 port for 2 rows, another port for another row. And we have all that wire staked along going there. We do have another line of wires for Ethernet and power for the differential board running through there. Then we have our Corotivity, which is a Coro nativity scene. This star is this kind of suspended here. We used this fishing line and we wrapped the crap out of it. I didn't do this, but my dad did. And it ain't going anywhere. Looks super cool in the night. We wanted to have a nativity scene for that. Behind here we do have a 4-foot section of rebar, and that goes through the whole thing. In the night you can't see it. And then 4 other pieces, so 5 rebar total to stake this thing in, and it really isn't going anywhere. It does look like it wobbles, but it doesn't really. And so yeah, we added that this year. We moved our candy canes. We used to have these on each side of the yard, and this year we decided to put them both here. So we have one of our 200 node 7-foot candy canes from Boscoyo. Next year we are upgrading these to 1,000 node each from EFL. I'm super excited for that. Super excited not to push them, but once they're out there, they'll look cool. These are our medium trees from Boscoyo. So we had the small ones in the yard over there. These ones are our medium ones. They're a little bit taller, a little bit bigger, and we like them. So we have 2 of those on each side of our mega tree. Then we have these presents, also from Boscoyo Studios. We have 2 of the medium and then 1 of the smalls. This is our mega tree. I didn't even realize one of the strips was broken. I wonder if that happened today. Oh well. So this is a 16 strand, 200 node, or no, 100 node. Yeah. Maybe it is 200 nodes. I don't know what it is. It's 1 inch spacing. It's 16 nodes, and it's around 10 feet tall, with a star at the top. I believe it's 90 pixels. Next year we are looking at doing an upgrade for this. I'm not sure what exactly we're gonna do, but this is just a holiday Coro kit. We're using 3 guy wire points, so 1 there, 1 down there, 1 in the back, and then this is just, the pole is the top of a fence post with the holiday Coro bottom and then topper. We're looking to replace that and go 20 feet or so double the height. I think it would look really good, but we're still kind of experimenting with what we want to upgrade next year. This is just a 5-foot trampoline base that we got used, and then we just threw away the trampoline part of it and just used it as a base. Another one of our medium trees with the stars. This is our pixel matrix running 1152 nodes, 2 inch spacing. You can see that there. We display some stuff on that. We had this, I think, year 2, and it's been running strong. We also have our candy cane over there. Another one of our 7-foot 200 node candy canes from Boscoyo. Another one of our cameras. This one we mainly use to check who's out on the street watching our display, because we don't want to get up and look through the window, or if we're not home. But it also provides some security. Back behind here is the mess of wires that no one really gets to see. So we use these green fence posts for the candy canes with an EMT kind of bent, poorly, but bent. And then we also use these green fence posts for the matrix. In here we have our secondary controller. It is very mushy and wet, so I'm not going to kneel down here, but we have our smart differential receivers coming in here. Our data in for our controller, Ethernet. I'm going to open this up here. It's very similar. K16 Falcon expansion. We're just running 4 Meanwhile power supplies instead of the server power supplies. And that's because we had them. The other ones we didn't. So we experimented with the server power supplies. And then all of those extensions, tons and tons of extensions running through here. Here's the back of the tree here with that 1 strand down. And then our back anchor point. Let's see how loose these are. Oh wow, that's pretty taut still. I don't think we tightened those this year, but they're still pretty taut. So that was a look at our behind the scenes. If you're curious on anything, please comment down below. We'd love to help you out. Join some of the Facebook groups. They're very helpful as well. That's how we kind of learn the most. See if there's like a group in your area that meets. There's some minis, they're called, that you can meet during the year with like-minded people that have similar displays, and it's a fun time. we've gone to the Michigan, the Ohio one, and we did the Christmas Expo, but that's a larger conference. But those were super fun. Next year, we're hoping to get out to the Indiana display, or Indiana Mini, and maybe the New York, but we'll see. So, yeah, again, this was a behind-the-scenes look. The only other thing that's not here and is downstairs in the basement, we're running a Windows Dell workstation computer with Xschedule on it, with an FM transmitter to run our display. We used that from the start. Haven't seen a need to switch to FPP yet. Most of our stuff does run Falcon Pi Player, but only in a remote, not a master configuration. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. This video is long enough. But again, if you have any questions, comment down below. We'd love to help you out or answer any questions. But again, this was Edwin from Crosscreek Lights, and thanks for joining us on a behind-the-scenes tour of our 2023 Christmas light display.